We're doing take 3 on this one. Because I keep on finding myself confused. So yeah, before I was talking about playing R.E.P.O with people and like trying to have fun and like trying to like play in that system and like create moments of enjoyment, but having people be hyper focused on the task and like having to do a job and like trying to function in a practical way rather than just enjoying themselves. And it got me really confused. Because I was like, well, maybe that's how they play games. Maybe that's how they're playing, because they see a video game as a set of tasks to complete, and like that's what their enjoyment is. Their enjoyment involves them completing a task. Wow, that sounds depressing as hell. Yeah, when I'm it at tag, I make it my goal to only tag other people. Yeah, when I'm playing hide and seek, I make it my goal to never be found. And it's funny because I'll say that as a joke, but that's what you're supposed to do. Okay, this is take 5, 6, I don't know. I've been trying to do this and my storage is full and it just is not working. Anyway, where I left off, I was talking about playing R.E.P.O. If you guys know R.E.P.O, if this is in the same video, I've already talked about it. And playing with people that it seems like they're not having a really fun time, that they're not really playing the game to play, that it's like they're playing the game to fulfill tasks. It's like they've if embodied the tasks of the game and not the actual fun itself. And so then it got me wondering about what actually like play is. Like, what actually does it mean to play, and what does it mean to have fun? And these are definitions that I brushed up against in like early in my degree. For those who are curious, I took a Bachelor of Arts and Science in interactive system design. So we learned a lot about game design, and we learned a lot about other creative mediums. We learned about human psychology. We learned about how to create intuitive devices and intuitive systems, and how to facilitate human-computer interaction in ways that feel natural. And yeah, so I've kind of studied about what play is, and I've studied about playing games and interacting with computers in a way that's more intuitive. And yeah, so the definition of play has always come up as a question, and it's usually defined as something that's like another side definition that uses something like the magic circle, where is like the space or boundaries in which people forget or give away their previous conceived notions about how they should be, and then they do something else instead. I'll put up a real definition just in case that was too wordy. Yeah, or like doing something for enjoyment, or competing in a game that has rules. But those are already, that's 2 other definitions that you need. Competing, rules, what do those mean? What's a sport? What is a game? What's the difference? Like, it's really complex. When you start thinking about it, it gets really complex really quickly. And I'm sure you could say that for anything that you study, any science, really, any science or human behavior or whatever it is. Psychology is deep. Like, there's a lot of headway to get through before you can understand something. Anyway, on to the point I was gonna make. Yeah, so I recently have been playing R.E.P.O, and it struck me as kind of weird, because I feel like I was playing that game to have fun, and I thought I was playing that game to enjoy what I was doing with other people, and this did not seem like it was the universal case for everybody. It started to feel like people were there to fulfill tasks, and that gave me that little like repulsive feeling, that little like something feels weird here. Like, it was, I don't know, kind of weird to see some people play in a way that didn't seem like it was very fun. Like, it seemed like they had been given a way of being and they just accepted it, and they just didn't question how to do it. They didn't question anything about it. Like, they just thought that's what I have to do. It's like they had been given a directive and they just followed it. This is already getting dark, and I didn't want it to, but it's getting kind of weird. Yeah, so I was curious, in between the last video, when I was filming, I thought I would look up just like what a general definition of play is, because I feel like that's where I'm getting a bit of this this ick feeling. So a quick Google search gives me the Oxford definition, which if you're subscribing to a different dictionary, that's fine, but I'm sure it's a similar definition. Engaging in activity for enjoyment and recreation rather than serious or practical purposes. And so this is kind of standing in a stark comparison to what I experienced when I was playing R.E.P.O, pretty generally, that there are people who are playing the game and they see it as more of an experience that needs to be completed than they do in seeing it as an experience to enjoy themselves. And then, now I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking that there's a lot of people who play games with the idea that they need to accomplish a task. Like, like people who play games that, get really serious about it. It's like all of a sudden they're treating it like it's more than a game. It's more than just fun with people. And you can see there's a boundary here, because obviously this is not an all-encompassing case. Like there's a bell curve here, and then it overlaps with another bell curve, and it's like, people who are playing for enjoyment up to this amount of people, and then you've got this small subsect of people on the high end who are playing the game for more serious reasons, like for instance like a sport, like somebody who's like competing versus somebody who is enjoying, and those can overlap. Those do overlap, in fact. But it seems a little bit counterintuitive to me to be playing a game that seems to be just there for fun, but to be playing it seriously. That feels a little strange to me, and I kind of worry about that. I kind of worry about being, people playing a game. I say playing, but it feels like I mean working. Like, it's strange to think of people doing work when they want to have an enjoyable experience. And like when I say work, I mean like they're completing goals and they're completing tasks, and like maybe that's scratching an itch for them. Like maybe that's an accomplishment that they're looking for, to check that box, to check that experience, and to be, to have some sort of praise associated with that, or to have like a personal fulfillment associated with completing that task. And that's another thing entirely. I think that's another thing entirely, because I mean, to me, the definition of play doesn't have like a preconceived notion of who you are or what you want. Like, animals play. Creatures play. Do plants play? Does play require volition? It kind of gets messy really fast when you start thinking about it, which is kind of antithetical to the whole idea. It's funny because whenever I talk about, bigger ideas, I talk about playing with the idea, and it's like, but I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to study it. So playing can be used loosely. I mean, I guess that's just a feature of the English language, is that we use words extremely variably and extremely loosely. I used the example. I tried to film this before, and I used the example of, when I play tag, I try my very best to get everybody when I'm it. When I play hide and seek, I try to make sure that nobody will ever find me. When I'm playing grounders, I don't ever let anybody stay free. It's a Canadian reference for you, by the way. When I play freeze tag, I make sure that I don't move a single muscle when I'm caught. Like, it feels like the boundary for some people is making sure that they do something exactly right. And that kind of, I think that that kind of harms the idea of playing. I think that harms the idea that you're trying to go for when you're having a good time or when you're enjoying yourself. Because, stick with me on this one. All right, so how about this? How many people, when they decide that they want to enjoy themselves, try very, very, very hard to do it exactly right? Like, can you see the problem here? The problem I'm seeing with this is that some people think that there's a right way and a wrong way to play. Some people think that there's a wrong way for them to have fun. Does that feel real? Like, do people, like, nobody thinks that. Nobody consciously is aware of that. Nobody thinks, oh, I need to have fun this way. Oh, I need to play this way. Unless there's some sort of composite, like, like contingent goal associated with it that they need to do a certain thing to get a certain thing. And that to me kind of, it bleeds into like work a little bit. It bleeds into like some sort of practical, I don't know, like an advancement of something. It's like, some games do have goals. Some games use goals and punishments, and some games use, the requirement of a certain behavior or the requirement of a certain consequence, and then they make that fun. That can be fun if you use it right. But some games use it as a wall where you have to obey the wall to get around it. And that's not really, I don't know, that feels like not, it doesn't feel like fun all of a sudden. That feels like somebody telling you what to do and you agreeing with them, which can be fun if that's what you want. Like, there's a reason that House has been like a game for children for like hundreds of years, thousands probably, is because we're agreeing on how we want to act. And then we agree, that's the magic circle. That's okay, we're gonna agree that right now we're in a house and we're fulfilling roles and we're doing tasks and jobs, and we're playing at it, we're pretending at it. So if you apply that to, like, for instance, playing Repo, you're given goals, an identity, you're given, a structure of the play environment, and then you're given the tasks of collecting items and avoiding getting caught by monsters. And then despite that, there are still people that go into it and then they think that's the only thing that they're allowed to do. It's like they've been given an identity, and their identity says you're a robot, and you must collect valuables, and you must avoid the monsters, and you must survive. And if you do that, you will win. You will win the game, and that's what you want. Is anybody seeing what I'm talking about? Does anybody understand what I'm saying right now? I feel like I'm going insane. I don't think people know how to play. I think people forgot how to play. When you get into a game and the only thing that you allow yourself to do is exactly what that game says you should do, like, are you playing the game or is the game playing you? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I I don't understand how. And the funny thing is that, people will rebel against you if you try and play the game differently. So let me give you an example. There's a text-to-speech editor, like I said. I don't know if I'm going to keep that. There's a text-to-speech editor in R.E.P.O, and it does funny voices, right? And you can change the pitch by depending on if you're looking up or down, or if you're crouching, and you can like talk and make it, it's a voice that you just have control over, and you can use that however you want. And I really enjoy that about that game because it's a different way of communicating with people, and it changes how they interact with you rather than just you using your regular voice. And I really enjoy that. And so I try to use it a lot. But I've had people tell me that it's annoying that I only use that, or that they can't understand me, or that they can't hear me. And like, I'll admit, partially that's on me, because maybe their ears aren't attuned to hearing a robotic voice. Like maybe they just can't hear that really well, or maybe they have it turned down, or whatever the problem is. But like, there's an aspect of that game that I find really fun, but other people say you shouldn't use that because it makes it harder for me. So now I'm like, is this an accessibility issue? Or maybe like they just don't want to play it in a different way. Like maybe that's too different for them. Like is a game a to-do list? There are some games where the game is a to-do list. There are games that people play that are simply achieve the next task. There are games where the entire player experience, the UI, how you move, what you do, how people talk to you, is a list of tasks. And people really like those games. But why do they like those games? It's really hard to define what fun is for other people. Like some people say you can't define fun because it's not something that you can objectively write out. Like it's going to be different for every person. Like there are some people who find rolling dice fun. Some people who find solitaire fun. So this kind of leads into this idea that's like play is it's not like a definable thing. It's not something that you can just know how to make or know how to do. And I think that's why we have such a focus on iteration in games and like creating something new and different and like novel, and experimentation is huge. Pardon me. In indie games, there's a lot of variability between games. Like sometimes people will clone projects because they're like, oh, I like this, let's make more of this. And that's an entirely new video for me because I've got opinions. Don't put it up, Billy. Don't put it out. I've got opinions on that. And yeah, that's the whole focus though, is that a lot of times, indie games is the realm where you're going to find people who are trying to iterate, who are trying to adapt to different needs, that are trying to overcome our old concepts and to make something different and interesting and to grab people's attention in a way that's maybe not done before or not done in such a specific way. So yeah, I don't know that I have much more to say about that. The only other thing that I really could say about that is that can anybody tell me what fun means? Can anybody tell me what play is? Hi, I'm looking for the definition of what fun and play are. If you can let me know, that'd be great. Have a good one.